Steve, it was, as you would say, wonderful to see you on Friday. Was it Friday?
It was, yes, it was. It was wonderful.
Yeah, good to
Friday.
yeah, gorgeous day in State College. A little warm, but you know, good to
Chamber of Commerce Weather for Arts Fest. It was great.
look at the art. Did you buy any art?
I did not. We were gifted a piece of art from the guy
Nice.
who we put up.
Nice.
But we didn't really get through it much. We went down to see him a couple times. So no, I'm
Okay.
perhaps not surprising by the poster that's been with me for older than my kids and the stuff I got from Penn State Salvage. It's sports related. Not big in the art stuff.
That's a big shocking twist to this podcast. Bought some creamery ice cream. That's all that matters. Okay.
What flavor?
What did I get? Did I get peanut butter? No, I got butter pecan because the last time I got peanut butter swirl.
Okay.
So I had to kind of go with the rotation. All right. The name of this podcast is the Stuff Somebody Says podcast with
Steve.
Steve. We have a great podcast for you tonight. We're kind of meandering of various topics, but we do have an interview. That's with Morgyn Seigfried. She is the general manager of Playfly Max. What that means to you? She's kind of, sort of, the person in charge of Roar Plus, and as I said at the beginning of the interview, probably the perfect podcast guest because a combination of Penn State, sports media, sports business, all rolled into one. And so we peppered her with some questions about that, and hopefully you enjoyed that. And then you want to talk a little hockey. Maybe we can also talk briefly about the fact that next week is kind of the unofficial start of football season for us. Perfect. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Listen to our interview, and we'll be back after this. Steve, we've had this podcast for 5 years now, almost going into, I think, our 6th football season, and I'm not sure there is a more perfect guest for the things that we are interested in: Penn State, sports media, and sports business.
So it took us this long to
Yes,
get it right.
I think that's what we've come to figure out and learned out.
Okay.
Our guest today is Morgyn Seigfried. She is the GM of Playfly Max. Why she's having a conversation with us, well, I'm going to ask, but could you tell us about Roar Plus and everything involved in that?
Yeah, we're super excited. It's basically an exclusive content platform to house things that, wouldn't maybe be the most forward facing in past years. We're trying to be innovative. We're trying to provide our student athletes a platform and a hub to tell their stories their way, in a way they're comfortable with. And we're trying to generate revenue for NIL in a way that fans actually feel like they're getting something in return. I think there's a lot of donor fatigue out there. And I think the numbers that people ask for sometimes are big. So this is obviously a little bit more of a crowdfunding project where there's actually a return on your investment, and that return is exclusive Penn State news.
You hit on like every little thing that I want to hit on in the course of this conversation here. So I guess let's start with the content that is going to be on this. It seems that there's a couple different pillars between what the student athletes are going to be creating, the James Franklin, LeVar Arrington, and then the Brian Tripp and everything, plus the archive. One of the things that I am excited about is the fact that as a donor to this, as opposed to maybe Happy Valley United, do get a little bit of return on. But that being said, how do you make sure that content is strong enough and is different enough and is juicy enough for me to fork over the $15 a month to for this platform?
Yeah, I think it's like anything. Like, we realize we're gonna have to throw some stuff at a wall and see what sticks at first because it's new, and again, it's innovative and it's never been done before. But I think what's going to be really important is the messaging we get back from fans and our audience, and figuring out, like, what do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? We're going to try a bunch of new things at first, whether it's podcasts, there's chat rooms where we can have alumni, that we archive footage, some written pieces, day in the lives of student athletes. We're trying to make sure we can do recruiting news, things like all those types of things. So I think what's going to be really important is the feedback we get. And one of the things we're looking to do right now is give our fan council a month free so that they can kind of go into it and see what they like, what they don't like, what they change. I don't think I have the perfect formula for it. I'd be lying if I said that. I think I've worked in content for many, many years. It's always evolving. It's always changing. But I do know we have like the best fans in the country, and we're going to hear from them, and we're going to find out pretty quick what works and what doesn't.
When I think about the content and the content that we consume and pay for outside of this from Penn State, that's places like On3 and places like Lions 247, even The Athletic to a degree. I guess with that, can people signing up, can they expect that detail, and will that guard kind of be removed that we kind of maybe have always had with a press release as opposed to a news outlet, if you will?
Yeah, that's a goal. I mean, when we got together on this, and I give our athletic director, Pat Kraft, a lot of credit, he was like, why are we not breaking our own news our way? So that's kind of the premise of this, is breaking news and rewarding our fans for being loyal to us on this platform and creating a dialogue. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like those, but we definitely think we can have all of our own scoops and all of our own stories and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely very unique. And like I said, like the recruiting piece, we're trying to figure out exactly, this is new to everyone. So we're doing things that a lot of people aren't comfortable with. And we're asking a lot from people that we haven't asked of them. But that's the goal, is to do all those things.
What have you heard from fans so far? What is the response? What has the response been like?
I think people think we need something like this. They're excited about it. They want a community to talk to, especially our super engaged fans. I think everyone's reasonably so like, okay, so what is it exactly? And that's where we have a plan, but there is a little bit of like, we're going to have to figure it out as we go because it's new, but we have the best contributors and we have the buy-in from the top. So I think that's a recipe for success. Like you said, we've got LeVar, we've got Brian Tripp, who are both really trusted people of the Penn State Athletics Department. Pat Kraft is a huge supporter of this. He's very excited about it. All of our coaches are aware of it. All of our student athletes are aware of it. That was really important to us, that we messaged it so they knew what was coming and what we're going to ask of them, to kind of tell their story in a way that's never been told before. And I think it's unique because a lot of athletes are media trained, and now we're like, no, be yourself, do you, like this, tell it like it is. So that's what we're hoping for. And so again, we're kind of doing a whole new formula, but I think people are really excited about it and think it has a good opportunity to be successful.
Do you have early adopters among student athletes that are going to be it, or have kids reached out to you and said, "Hey, I want to be a part of this"? Like, how has that part of it, beyond Brian and other people, played out?
No, that's a great question. We sent out a video explaining what it was to student athletes and kind of said, like, if you're interested in being an ambassador or playing a part of this, let us know. And the amount of feedback we've gotten has been amazing. So we have a ton of student athletes interested in partaking in it. We filmed a bunch of videos with one of our student athletes today. And obviously I don't want to give away everything we're launching with, but it's been really cool to see how excited people are. And like even alumni, I was talking with Jess Maruzek today. I'm like, hey, would you want to do an interview for this? She's like, yeah, no problem. She's going to the ESPYs tomorrow. I mean, that's incredible. And we're going to get to talk to her and hear her version of like her story from this past year and this season and all these different things. And so it's cool to see that not only our current student athletes, but our alumni recognize, like, I wish we would have had this when I was here. This is really cool. So yeah, a ton, actually.
I'm curious from the NIL aspect of this, do all student athletes benefit from the dollars that this is bringing in, or do student athletes who have only signed up to produce content for Roar Plus benefit from this?
All student athletes who participate will, if they're not on NIL dollars, they will get an appearance fee.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
No, because that was something we talked about. Like, it's, again, we were figuring it out as we go, and we just kind of nailed that down recently.
Was there, being a former Penn State student, also a college comm student, this is something that a college comm student would be very interested in, but maybe an engineering athlete might not be as interested in that. How do you win over? Are you trying to win over those athletes that maybe are apprehensive about it? Or are you like, let's let them wait and see what happens type thing, and then pull them in that way?
Yeah, I don't think we want to force anything. Like, if you're comfortable, if you have, I think part of it, it's probably twofold. Like, if they have an incredible story to tell, we want them to tell that story if they're comfortable with it. But we're not like banging on people's doors being like, you have to participate in this, because it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be loose, it's supposed to be organic and natural. So I think we're gonna have to bob and weave on that a little bit. Like there will be student athletes where we're like, this would be really cool and our fans will love it and it can benefit you. But again, it's not supposed to be like an extra job for them.
Do you need a mix of sports though? Like, I mean, in the mind's eye, like it can't. I mean, it can just be football because there's money there.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of blue sky best picture, is it all of them? Is it a good proportion? So you get a mixed male and female, Olympic, non-Olympic. What would be your hopes?
My hopes are that we follow the story and the excitement. So if you look at a school like Penn State, there's a lot of that. Like imagine if we'd been able to follow women's volleyball last year through their historic run. Because I think that's how you're going to gain subscribers is like just checking boxes left and right is probably not like Penn State fans can get that on social media and it's the same way they've always gotten that on websites. So I think we'll follow where the story is, where the excitement is, and that can come in many different forms and many different sports and all different shapes. But I did say like this isn't just checking a box. Like we're trying to chase exclusive content that isn't being told anywhere else.
And then go ahead, Darian.
Go ahead.
So strategically, right, then there's a piece of it like along with following the story, you got to get ahead of a couple, right? You got to gamble on a couple stories that might be there so you can say, well, shit, if we'd have known about volleyball, we'd have had somebody embedded with them, right? Yep. So in whatever the model is, there's probably at least a couple, I'm not asking who, but it would make sense. There's a couple or handful of things we know we're going to do. We're going to follow from start to finish because we think it's going to develop. Like, is that fair or is that overthinking it?
Yeah, there's athletes whose stories we know are really interesting from the jump that we can follow. There's certain student athletes who you said are really engaged in content creation that are going to help. There's so many different elements that go into it. But I also think like there's sports whose, moms, dads, and uncles will sign up for this platform because they don't see enough of their content. So we're not forgetting about anyone in that sense. And where Penn State's amazing is like, it's not just one sport. We have so many sports that have success. And that's what's going to make my job really hard in this. But I also think it's a really cool opportunity.
When you guys kind of came to the table of said, hey, we want to do this, were you looking at other models? What models were you looking at? Were you looking at other media platforms? What was your inspiration kind of for developing this?
Yeah, I mean, my background had been in content actually for years. I worked for Pat Kraft at Temple for 5 years, and then I was at Kansas for 3 years. Then I got into, I was an off-court agent, so I repped athletes off the field or off the court. Which was more of a revenue generating thing. So I kind of had this mixed background. And when this job came about, we were looking at all different ways that we could generate revenue for our student athletes. Again, donor fatigue was really real. And I started exploring and talking with and kind of going through what works for people, what doesn't. And when we met with this company, Lockerverse, I can't say enough good things about them working with them and just their platform in general. And a lot of people are doing forms of this. And when we looked at putting it behind a paywall, it's like, okay, well, it can't be too much. But if you're going to charge people, you also have to like make the content really exclusive and give people a reason. And I just thought their platform, the way it ran, was really, really cool and innovative. And I hadn't seen a lot like this. And this is me having seen like Rivals and On3 and all these different, we've all seen a bunch. So I just thought this was a really cool opportunity. And when I brought it to the table, everyone got behind it and said like, this would be really cool. We've never done anything like this. Our fans are unique and some of the best in the country and probably want something like this. That doesn't mean we think we're going to turn it around overnight, but I think our long-term plan, and as we engage, even internally our staff, like this is new for them of understanding like how important this platform is and how we break news and how we tell our story. So it's a long-term play, but I think we have some really cool stuff even just to start and can continue to kind of keep the ball rolling.
Yes. As somebody that signed up within the first few days because of the content aspect and what I'm getting out of this, The internal struggle I think a lot of Penn Staters are having are like, to your point, donor fatigue. Okay, where should I put my money? And obviously, you're working fundraising to a degree, so you're going to say put it everywhere and give us as much as you want. But I guess what was the internal conversations and how does Penn State find that balance between Happy Valley United, which is also a big NIL aspect, and then this Roar Plus, which is another aspect. That's kind of what I've struggled with, I guess, if you will, as a casual or an average Penn State fan.
Yeah, it's all important. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say one's better than the other or that one's more important. Like, NIL in college athletics is real, like very real. And because of our fans and our donors and our partners is how we've maintained where we are. You've seen some schools like fall apart at the seams for NIL. It's hard. So I think we're as a group, and one of my big jobs is to find innovative ways to generate revenue that's not just hard sales and asking for hard dollars and getting nothing in return. And I just thought this was a really cool opportunity to truly build a community and get our alumni involved and give our student athletes, again, I keep going back to it, but a platform. So to me, I just think it has the recipe that we're looking for something that our fans are looking for. Because to your point, there's models of it already that work with recruiting news and Penn State and things like that. So it's like, why wouldn't we try and do it ourselves? And yeah, it's going to be changing how people operate, and it's going to be uncomfortable for people at first. And that's a hurdle we're going to have to kind of plow through, and we get there, hopefully.
As the old guy on our old guy, young guy spiel here. So what goes away for me? Like, what if I am not paying for it? What will I not get? Like, I guess, and I don't know, but in my speculation, okay, does James need to do his radio show because it's going to be here, but he has an agreement? Like, what will someone who doesn't do this notice that, oh, I'm not getting this, or God, I wish I was getting this?
Breaking news, Q&As with coaches that we've never done before, live videos. I'll say this, I sat in on a couple of LeVar's shows that he filmed, and it's real, authentic conversation. And I see a lot of interviews, I see a lot of that stuff. It's really different. The way Tripp is talking to student athletes is very, like, just humanizes the heck out of all of our student athletes. And I go back to it, like, you've seen student athletes in some capacities are taught to be robots because they don't want to say anything that's billboard material and this and that and all these things. So I think we're giving people an opportunity to be themselves, and the way we break news on here, I think, will be really, really important and really cool. So that would be the biggest thing, I think. If you're into, like, knowing news first at Penn State, this will be the platform for you.
What type of news might that be different than
looking for a scoop on the scoop?
Yeah, looking for a scoop on the
nice.
scoop.
Okay, go ahead. Play that card. Go ahead.
What type of news might that be that would be different from a press release, for example?
Yeah, I don't want to say everything because I don't want to.
We're looking for scoops on scoops here, all right?
It could be anything from coaching changes to hires to a student athlete returning, a student athlete transfer, like all that kind of stuff. I have some other thoughts too, but again, I don't want to give too much away.
Functionally, you talked about the platform and then some of the shows, hardware and just making it happen. Like, how much of a stretch is that for staff that's already doing something right? And I guess I'm thinking about pushback, or maybe not pushback, but challenges, right? Got to have equipment to give to the kids. We've got to have somebody to go shoot the kids. How much of a ramp up has there been for that, or will there need to be for that to be able to do the things you want to do?
Huge. We're hiring a couple people. We've realized, like, if we want this to be successful, we're going to have to really invest in it. And even in the content we've already recorded, we're like, wow, if we really want to do this the right way, it's going to be a haul. But we believe that if we invest in it, it will be rewarded in many different ways, whether it's financially, whether it's our student athletes loving it and it being something unique that they can be a part of, whether it's preparing them for a world outside of playing their sport because they're really into communications or broadcast or whatever it is. All these different things. But yeah, it's been a labor of love for not only me, but a lot of our staff. And we're lucky that we have buy-in from really good people. Like, having LeVar involved, having Brian Tripp involved, a guy Penn State fans love, trust, I think is super helpful. And they know that I'm demanding and we have a lot at stake at this. But when we kind of started on this project, LeVar had already wanted to do something like this, so it only made sense for him to be involved. And he was kind of doing something like this on his own, a version of it, right? And Tripp is just someone that people already like feel really comfortable with. And then, we've asked a lot from our communications team. We've asked a lot from our coaches. We've asked a lot from our marketing team. So it's a all hands on deck project, but I think that's why we're hoping it'll work.
And in terms of success, right? The pyramid of ways they can enter and buy and support. Like you don't need 1 million subscribers, and maybe you're not going to give everybody right off the start. But like, what makes it a success? Like, I mean, let's assume the content is good.
Yeah.
Because and a good answer is the content's going to be great. If the content's good, how many people need to support this to make it worthwhile? I guess, or make it in your mind's eye.
I have my goals. I don't want to give a hard number to it. We have our internal goals. I think it's one thing that's been amazing to me is that how many subscribers we've got without even launching yet and just people being excited about it. That's very encouraging to me. So imagine when we launch and we're putting content behind it and we're breaking news on there and we're doing live Q&As that we've never done before and people can watch old games that they can't find anywhere else and things like that. Like, to me, if we continue to keep getting better each month and being more exclusive and getting coaches and athletes more comfortable with how it works, I think we have a pretty high ceiling for it.
Okay.
What is going to be the biggest key in marketing that, because it is behind a paywall? How are you going to show that to potential subscribers once it launches?
We're gonna market the heck out of it, like tease it everywhere, every email blast, newsletters, this, that. And the thing that I think is really cool is we're going to build an NIL ecosystem through this platform because we also have a free newsletter attached. Okay, you don't want to pay for the stuff behind the paywall. We'll still send out a newsletter weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it may be, that has really cool content in it. You just might not get all the content. You'll get teasers of it and you're still getting small snippets of it. But that's my biggest thing is like, you can do the coolest thing on earth. If you're not marketing the heck out of it, no one's seeing it. It's not going to work.
All right. The toughest question we have for you today to wrap up here.
Why?
What is your go-to creamery ice cream flavor?
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you something?
Oh,
this
boy.
is so bad.
Oh boy.
I've only been to the creamery once and it was years ago. And I don't remember what I got.
Okay.
The
All right.
place I have been is Myers Dairy.
Oh my
poor Darian
gosh,
is
she's
killing
one
us.
of those.
And-
One of those.
And I'm not gonna say it's all because of parking, but it's 99% because of parking. Like, you know what I mean?
We had John Gondak on last week.
How
the
are
track
people
coach.
getting to the creamery? Where are you parking?
This was his main gripe. This was his main gripe of why he also chooses Meyer Dairy. This was the same logic. So I appreciate
What are
the
you
honesty.
doing? How are you getting there?
Wait. I'm just going to push back gently. So now I have a staff permit, so that I'm just going to take that off the table.
So do I. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, then you're good. You're good in the surface lot after in the afternoon. You're good after like 3:30.
I have so much learning to do.
Yeah, you're good after
I'm a little
3:30. But if you're going to ask people to pay for content, but you don't want to pay to park to get the ice cream, like just
It's
saying.
not the
But you are
paying.
free. You are
It's
free
not the
in that lot
paying.
by the Ag Arena, so you're good.
Let's put it out there. It's not me being cheap. It's me being lazy.
I appreciate the honesty. We appreciate the honesty.
I'm coming.
All right, Morgan. How can people find out about Roar Plus? How can people sign up for Roar Plus? What should they know as we say goodbye here?
Yeah, it's all over social. It's roarplus.co. It's everywhere. You're not going to miss it. We're going to make sure you don't miss it. We're really going to ramp up in the next week ahead of a hard launch, which is ahead of Media Day. So we launch on Media Day, which is going to be really cool. So I don't think there will be lack of Roar Plus content and it being in your face in the next couple months.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you guys.
Steve, I was thinking about this and just kind of like thinking about my initial reaction, and I don't know that my feelings have necessarily changed on Roar Plus. I think the biggest thing that is holding it back, and I think Morgan kind of alluded to there a little bit, is the internal side of helping people share this access that have not always been the most eager to share access, so to speak. I think that's important and something that for this content platform to work needs to happen. I do feel a little bit better about that, particularly some of the breaking news stuff that she talked about, and I'm interested to see how that kind of plays out in the Penn State media ecosphere, if you will. So I do feel better there. I do feel galvanized. I guess maybe is the right word. In my opinion, that like I'm getting at the level that I'm comfortable with donating to NIL, I'm getting more out of this than I am from Happy Valley United, and that's not a knock necessarily on what Morgan said or didn't say there. It's more so just kind of like the conversation reaffirmed that there are some benefits that I wasn't necessarily getting with Happy Valley United, that at the lower level that I'm at, that I want to donate at, that I'm comfortable supporting this at. I think I'm better suited with Roar Plus over Happy Valley United if I'm being asked to pick and choose where I'm spending my dollars.
And you kind of are. So yeah, we mentioned her. I asked because I mentioned her when we were done recording. I think that one of the tougher challenges for Roar Plus might be buy-in from stakeholders internally, right? Like, hey, this is a new way we want you to do this. Hey, this breaking news stuff, and I think there can be traction there of, hey, players back from injury. Hey, coaches doing something. Like, there's stuff that they have access to that isn't even necessarily news. Like, they're not going to, maybe they do a schedule release on Roar Plus before it becomes public, but that lag between Roar Plus and public for something big can't be too long. I mean, it can, but it would kind of be tough if it was. But I think stakeholders internally have to get used to a transition that can work for them. You know, getting information out, getting people interested, and making it worth their time. So I think it's got room for success. Again, it's going to be determined by what they can provide. And I think there'll be interest. I mean, I think they've had a little bit of interest, and when they do Penn State Football Media Day and roll it out, I don't have any doubt they're going to be able to do it in a splashy, good content way. It's easy to do that once or twice, a month, once or twice a quarter, to get it on a grind where you're really feeling like it's worth it monthly, right? There's got to be a couple things each month that are really worth it. So, but with 31 teams and so many personalities and coaches and players, seems like there's content there to be had.
I appreciated her saying how, in some ways they're also going to chase the action to that point. Like, because I think, we relatively do that. I feel like we have kind of 4 core sports that we talk about: football, men's and women's basketball, and then hockey. I think that, but I feel like outside of the football beat, which is pretty much the only core beat that there is around Penn State athletics, like a lot of that's supported by Onward State or the Collegiate, and I do feel like there's a missing aspect of the storytelling that we're not necessarily getting that could just be just as interesting as what we get during football season. So I'm eager by that. One thing I am fascinated, we haven't really talked about this yet, but on the message boards or the message board code, if you will, is to kind of not take things out of the ecosystem, right? Like let them be on the message boards. If it's on the message boards, we keep it there, and it doesn't really get shared anywhere else. You don't want to be that person that's taking that content that you pay for. I'm interested to see how Penn State's media beat picks up and chooses and runs with that as we kind of move forward here. If a schedule release is posted there early, or an injury news, like I don't know that I'm interested to see how the credit situation works. Like I'm intrigued by how that's all going.
I think, and I mentioned I think you're going to get media subscribers, and I think it's for that. They don't want to miss anything. And I think if it's out on War Plus, it's news broken by the university on its War Plus platform.
That's a good point.
So it's reportable.
Yeah.
So if I'm a media member, this is whatever it was, $9 or $15 a month that I'm spending. And to your Happy Valley United point, like for me, right, as always, kind of like expecting this stuff to kind of come in-house to the athletic department, which is what WordPlus is, and the Happy Valley Uniteds of the world kind of being out there as kind of like a middle person. Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this affects them, right? Because I don't know what value's there. And there's the lawsuit nationally that's starting up. There's an association of those groups already. God bless them.
Yeah.
You know, they have their own. I think the future of those groups, I think they're going to fight and stick around because that's what lawyers do and that's what the money will end up happening. But for me, I'd like it all to be in one place. Even if I don't subscribe, I'd like to know that's the place. That's where I give money. And I'm not confused about, well, what are you doing with my money? And what do you want to do with my money? No, it goes here. And I'd be more comfortable with that personally.
I think that's one of the reasons why, like, the Nittany Lion Club, like, even if there was a little bit of pushback when the STEP program rolled out back all those years ago, like, I think that's why people over the last 10 years, let's say, like, have become comfortable with the Nittany Lion Club. And at the same time, like, have also now started to re-struggle with the Nittany Lion Club because they're like, well, now you need my money over here and here, but why can't you just use this money for that money? And I think that's a part of this, and a good thing to think through. I think, and I think, you know, tried to ask around. It seems like Happy Valley United's going to have a little bit more of an event-based role, which is kind of what they've already done to a degree. I think just kind of talking to some people that is what's going to happen with Happy Valley United. It is fascinating. The commission that kind of is the clearinghouse that's going to okay these came out this week or last week and said, well, you can't exactly exist for the purpose of just giving money. It needs to have some sort of like tradable goods give and take there. And I think that's an interesting factor with this. And I hope, one thing I do hope is I hope that we don't lose the insights and the interestingness that we've got from the state media gang, which kind of sort of has a tie to Happy Valley United as well. That's been, to me, that has been the best media invention, if you will, in the Penn State media ecosphere over the last few years. And I hope that doesn't go away as we kind of progress further, because I think, you know, we've had both Hack and Brandon Bell on this podcast. Like, they provide very good insights and they provide very good and useful content.
Do you think you would not be surprised, however, if one of their teammates or someone like that showed up doing the same thing for Playfly Max?
No, I mean, it's already happened. I mean,
it is, but I'm just saying, like,
right.
I was just going to skew younger, but yeah, like, because I think that's where there's room for stuff too, right? I mean, you got to invest in it and make sure you're paying people. But I think it wouldn't surprise me if some of that stuff kind of gets mirrored, right? Which makes the back and forth or where you invest your money kind of interesting going forward.
Yeah. Love watching the drama and the saga play out. Anything else there? Another Meyer Dairy person?
Can't wait for you. I know. I knew that when she hesitated, I'm like, she's going to say Meyer Dairy. It's going to blow his mind.
You know,
but we helped her out with parking. Now she knows.
Yeah, there we go. No, appreciate Morgan joining us. It was a great conversation. All right. Let's go to like the relative news of the day. You tuned in to the Guy Gadowsky press conference. Your main takeaway of the afternoon was
business as usual.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's if there's a line or a through line of what it is, business as usual. Yes, if you got the number one player, could be the number one player in the NHL draft. Yes, more people are going to be interested, but what makes us successful as a program, what we're going to preach as a team, is it's not about me. It's about the team as a whole. And someone asked him about the people that were joining, and he said, hey, you know, he's a team first guy, right? He's not asking about himself. He's asking about what he can do for the team. And he's polite and he's got good manners, like just kind of some general stuff. But I think that's the takeaway for me. And I asked specifically, say, hey, your message has been through me that I've heard through the years is everybody's going to work together. It's about getting to something that's bigger than all of us. You know, it felt like some of that was said because you didn't have a lot of NHL draft picks in the locker room. Now you've more than doubled. You've got what's going on. And he said, it doesn't change. This is who we are. This is our DNA. It's about bigger than us. It's about team. You know, we learned that, and he's right. They learned that last season. You know, I mean, it's been 6 months since Aiden Fink scored a goal, right? And everybody was making, what's he doing? And the team's making the Frozen Four. So I think business as usual is the message, and I think that serves them well, although it's clearly not going to be business as usual because If you'd have done a July Zoom news conference with Guy Gadowsky last year, you'd have had 3 kids from the Collegian, me and 2 other people. You'd have had 7 people. There were 24 people today, along with national outlets and people from Philly and Pittsburgh. So clearly more interest now that Gavin McKenna's in the fold.
I hate to do this. It's a lazy topic, but I think we have to ask it because we haven't. Has hockey replaced basketball on the popularity chart, like men's basketball versus hockey right now? Right now,
right. If you did a month by month chart, like month by the calendar year, yes, right. Like they would be at different spots. But I could see that by February of next year, them both being in the same spot. Up probably. I mean, if the men's basketball team could win games with whatever. I mean, you're making a face, but
I think this.
Yes, right. Yes, right now.
All right.
But I don't think. God, I don't think basketball's dead and meandering. I just think they don't know their identity, right? And they're struggling.
I don't. All right. Here's the deal. Here's the question.
I was waiting. I just need something to push you over whatever cliff
Here's
you're
what
trying to
I
step
would think
over.
about this. Like, could you do a man on the street right now and said, can you name either a Penn State basketball player or a Penn State hockey player? And if you had 100 students walk by Willard Building, I bet 75 of them say a hockey player.
Okay.
Actually, no, that's not true. That's a little high because I bet
I might have said 60.
decent portion of those. We're going to assume that those 100 people, yes, we're going to assume that they can answer that question. But I bet if we actually really ask that question, it's like 20, 60 of football, of basketball, hockey, and then the 60 being no. What's the sport?
Yeah, right. No, that's fair. Like, I'm glad you talked stuff back off that number because I don't know it was that high. Yes, hockey's in a much better place than basketball right at this moment. Basketball still has a big arena, still has the ability to draw more people. I mean, Penn State, as of this week, it was self-reported numbers that Sportico had of self-reported numbers from other sports other than football and basketball across the country that were moneymakers. And Penn State hockey was number 12 nationally. Like how can it afford? Like it was behind like Arkansas baseball, Minnesota men's hockey was second, then like A&M baseball, LSU baseball, Wisconsin hockey. So Penn State hockey, well, it was, let's see, 1, 2, third in the Big Ten in terms of self-reported revenue made, just ahead of Michigan, but behind Minnesota and Wisconsin in terms of revenue as a program. So people are watching it, and they're not going to make any less money this year, right? Like, I mean, people have already paid for their season tickets, but they paid their deposits and done their stuff. But there's going to be more revenue there because people are geeked. They're going to come, they're going to eat food, they're going to drink beer, they're going to have a team that's fun to watch. You cannot say those things right now, not being mean-spirited about it, about the basketball team. You can't say they're going to come, they're going to eat food, they're going to drink beer, they're going to have a good time. You can't. And you can't say that there's a connection to the team like there is with this one. People couldn't pick Gavin McKenna out of a lineup. But once they're there, they're going to know the dude's wearing number 72 and he's ours and I'm behind it. And he's Canadian, like we get that. They're going to go across the street and they're going to have the UN with them to identify who those players are, right? And it's tougher, I think, sometimes to make those connections if you don't feel like you know them, right? And it's just a challenge for them right now. No. But I don't think they're totally foundering, but I think it's a challenging time.
No, and I think it's a fascinating time, and I think that's what's so fascinating about the deal to go get Gavin and McKenna, right? Like it's like, and I think that's why it kind of felt a little stunning. It was like, we don't really know what we're doing with basketball programs. We know what we're doing with the hockey programs, though. Like we know there's a clear, we're going to invest in this, right? Like we're going to spend money, we're going to make this better. And I think that's why what was so kind of jarring, and also as we kind of like talked about, because you made a good point, like there was a stretch last year that they weren't that good, but they were still selling out the arena. Like over the last 2 seasons, they have led or been one of the top teams in the country in hockey in terms of getting butts in seats. And particularly 2 years ago, what were they really doing? Not that much. So now it's like, what's this next? Like why do this investment, so to speak? It's a weird thing to talk about for a college student athlete, but it's like, why do this? Well, why not? And like, what? It just feels so exponential of the potential growth, I think.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if we talked about that. I think we traded texts about it, right? Because I wrestle with my practical, like pragmatic, cost-effective, be efficient self versus my PR and marketing self. That practical part, you're investing in Gavin McKenna and all that comes with him to win 2 games. I mean, realistically, they can't win any more than they did. I mean, they can win more games, but they can't be any more successful next year than they were this season, except for 2 games. They need to win in the Frozen Four. So they're investing in him. They're investing in the other NHL caliber players they're bringing in. Everything else they're going to do is support the program to ostensibly win 2 more games. And they're not going to sell many more seats because they were sold out most of the year. So it is an investment in a bigger thing. It's a marketing thing where the next NHL player decides they want to come to Penn State, where the program itself is positioned as maybe second on campus, right? Like maybe it's football and hockey, right? At some point down the line, pretty soon. So it's about all those other intangible things in some ways that you don't see right away, or that you do know right away, and you're like, we're just going to do this because this is big. This is the splash to make.
No. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But business as usual is they're making splashes.
Yeah, it's a weird time because you're right. Like, and I didn't watch press conference or read that much about it, but based off of what you've told me and a couple quotes I've seen online. Would you expect anything else from Guy though? Like, and I like, that's kind of endearing to me, just knowing Guy and like, we just happened to get this quote unquote generational talent, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to shoot the puck 600 times and we're going to block 600 more shots. And that's how Penn State hockey is going to play. And I just think that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, and to his credit, someone asked about McKenna's creativity. He's like, look, he's creative, right? Like he's got good hockey IQ, but we're not going to ask him to change or do anything about who he is. But at the same time, we don't ask anybody else to change or do anything about who they are. Play Penn State hockey, right? So I think that's why, for me, I think the through line is business as usual. And for them, past 6 to 8 months, it's been pretty good business.
Yeah. I'd say it's booming. All right. That's it. Anything else hockey-wise? I don't think so. We can move on to football season. This is like our, kind of like, I know we talked about, we've made it through the stuff Summers has off season, I guess, if you will, because everything kind of really does to Morgan's point earlier, it does kind of kick off next week with media day. We will send out our preseason media survey this year. Probably similar questions. Maybe a couple additional. It depends on what Steve sends me. Lets me know. I kind of just get like I got the stuff launch on here. We've got offensive, defensive, and coaching previews I want to talk about. Still got to think through what we're doing the week of the first football game though, because someone decided to go see Oasis on that Monday night, so might have to record a little early. Yeah, good. You excited for football season? Like,
do you want to give me the? Can I?
Yeah, I want you to give me honest answer because I have a take on it too. Go ahead.
I'm excited for September 27th.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
The stuff before then, I just...
Come on. You love tailgating.
It'll be... I appreciate tailgating. I appreciate seeing everybody, the energy that'll be in town. But those dogs of games, I'm sorry. Like, no, I'm not excited for that. I am excited for September 27th. 27th, right? Yeah.
That's a long ways away. And there's 3 football games before then that I'm...
What's the combined score of those games going to be?
Like 150 to 24.
150 sounds high, but okay. Okay.
Oh, come on, I'm playing Villanova. They put 66 up on them a few years ago, didn't they?
No. So no, I am excited for the vibe in town and seeing people and whatever else. But actual on-field stuff doesn't start for me till the last week of September.
This is what I was going.
What about
to
you?
Say.
Because you were going. I was waiting.
What I was going to say. Not that I'm not excited for football season, because I love tailgating. I love football games. I love watching football. I love like we got EA College Football 2026 out the other day and started playing that, and it's just great. and I love all of that, and I love the blog has become such a fun outlet for me, and the podcast has become such a fun outlet for us. But it's like we've had so much to talk about this year, from basically from mid-January till now mid-July. It's like, yeah, football. Like I kind of keep having to remind myself that football season, like we are going to spend time dedicated talking about football season next week to a degree.
Yeah, you got all from all the talent on the field to a new defensive coordinator to messaging at media day for the conference to the messaging at their own media day to watching how Roar Plus sends out news, right? Like so, there'll be a lot to see.
Yeah. So like I think that's where I'm at with it. Like it's not that I'm not excited. It's just like we've been distracted, but for good, fun reasons. Okay. This week's Old Guy, Young Guy, not stressful, but I was thinking about something today. I was at the grocery store. I had to pick something up at the grocery store. And there was music playing. And trust me, this is not where you think this is going. There was music playing. It was ABBA. It was something from Mamma Mia. And I thought to myself, does Steve Samsel like musicals?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What have you been to? I have not been to a Broadway show. But this is a well-known fact about me. I've never been to a Broadway show.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I've only been to New York. Like, the first time I was in New York was the Pinstripe Bowl. So that's an important aspect.
Yeah, but you could go to the National in D.C., which is right there.
I forget about that, but I want to see like The Lion King or Wicked or like one of those ones first.
Okay.
I
think that's good. Yes, those are great choices. Okay. I was going to tell you my Wicked story because Steve didn't get the plot line of Wicked, which is a sad thing. Which is a very good musical. You go do that. Yeah, we were just there. We were there twice this year. We went. What did we see early? We saw something in January. Then we saw Suffs in the spring, late spring. Love my musicals. Okay. We'll go to high school musicals around here for like cheap entertainment, right? Like a night out. 2 tickets for $10, 2 tickets a piece at $10 or something like that to see local kids. And we just saw Grease at like the Millbrook Marsh place up near Lock Haven, right? So we saw that. But no, I'll do a good musical anytime.
Okay. What's your go-to musical? What's your favorite?
Oh, I don't know that I have a favorite. I have stories about all of them, right? Like Mamma Mia, we took my mothers and stuff. Like I don't know. Maybe Wicked now that I know what I should have been picking up on before when it was at the show. So there you go.
You struggle with that concept. The book is a little darker than the musical I've been told.
Yeah, I was slow on some of the relationships in the stage show.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, no, I picked that up pretty straight away during the movie. It was kind of annoying.
In the movie, we've had this discussion, yes. And if one of our favorite listeners or his wife had both made it this far, it is a discussion point in their marriage about that it was too overt in the movie.
It was.
Right. So there you go. See, so you haven't even seen this is great. You haven't even seen the musical and you thought it was overt, and there's a discussion point about whether it is or isn't, and whether somebody could pick that up. So there you go. In the musical, I wasn't bright enough to pick that up. We're done. I'm like, really? That was? And Susan's looking at me like, yeah. How could you not get that?
That is disappointing you didn't pick that up. Mamma Mia.
But I don't know if there's a go-to one
for me though. Like the Mamma Mia, like all the ABBA stuff is very catchy.
And it should be.
Yeah,
it should be. Yeah.
No, but I have not. I mean, that's about it. It's like Mamma Mia, and
Moulin Rouge would get high recommendations from some of our listeners.
Okay. There's Aladdin.
I haven't seen Aladdin.
But I've only seen the movie of that one.
Oh. Again, that's not a musical. That's a movie.
I've only seen the movies of these. Yeah. So, I don't know. I was curious because I was like, really enjoyed Mamma Mia. Good musical.
Yes. No. Okay. Yes. Some of the musicals, Mamma Mia would be a good selection. The other ones you mentioned would be a good selection. You should make that a goal in the next year.
We can make that happen.
Get yourself to a Broadway show.
And here's the deal. I want to go to Broadway. I don't want to.
Where's the Oasis concert?
Toronto.
Toronto has great stage shows. Probably that Sunday night there's something.
We did last year when we were in London. We happened to be in the West End, and we're like, we should have thought this through a little bit better, and went and saw something. Yeah, no. I know there's people that are listening to this podcast that will listen this far that are probably mad at me that I haven't seen a musical, and to them I'm
maybe you should make that a question on like your on one of your personal socials. I haven't seen one. What should be the one I see first? Bet you get response.
Good point. Okay. That's this week's podcast. Thanks to Morgan for joining us. Like I said, it's Tuesday right now. The podcast will go on Wednesday. I know, either Wednesday or Thursday, the media survey will be released. We will talk about that next week. And then, like I said, we're football season's kind of sort of really getting underway next week-ish as we kind of get going. We can talk about media day after that. We can talk about anything and everything till the cows come home. I think this is going to be, I said this last year, I think this is going to be an absolutely fascinating time to sit here and have a podcast with you and talk about Penn State football. It's going to be a fascinating time to sit here and have a blog about Penn State football that we both write about, because it's been a fascinating off season, and in so many ways. So I'm excited. Are you excited?
Excited.
Okay. That website is called stuffsummersays.com. On that website, there's a section called With
Steve.
Be sure to read his little sneak peek into ESPN's college football announcer kind of seminars that happened this week with former podcast guest Amanda Gifford, who was good to join us back then. Nice enough to have a conversation with Steve recently. So that was good. You can give us 5 stars and thumbs up. We appreciate that. My email is Darian@stuffsummersays.com. Steve's is
Steve@stuffsummersays.com.
Perfect. And then you can find me on the internet at Stuff Summer Says. I'm Steve.
And I'm at Steve Samsel.
See ya. Bye.